So there I am, lying, not moving, hoping that she doesn't gouge my eye out. And I'm describing a very common situation that everybody has gone through, right? You're sleeping there with your baby, and she's there fussing, trying to move around, and her hands are doing whatever. And then on your face, and you keep your eyes closed. Hopefully, she doesn't try to poke your eye. But it doesn't bother us, right? I mean, if you describe it in certain words, it sounds like a horrifying, terrifying experience. But anybody who is a kid knows this is just life, right? I mean, how often have you had your head conked by your kids? Oh, it's like they almost do it for fun, right? I mean, stick your finger in your nose, take your glasses, stick it in your mouth, in your ear, whatever, right? Sometimes bite you, slobber over you, right? Sometimes they kick you, like to sit on your face. But all those things are just normal that we accept. It reminds me of National Geographic movies where you see the lion, a fierce king of the jungle. And there are these little cubs crawling all around, scratching, doing who knows what, and they don't do anything. No roar, no nothing, right? I mean, it's just babies, it's just kids. That's what they do, right? I mean, nobody's gonna get upset. Nobody's gonna be traumatized. Nobody's gonna say, wow, my baby hit me, right? Yeah, are you gonna report that to the police? Nobody cares. They're gonna say, seriously, are you high or something? But that's the thing, right? I mean, they do all these things and it doesn't bother us. I mean, it does, right? We don't like it, but it's not like it traumatizes us. I think that's a very interesting point about trauma. Bad experiences, things happening to you, violence, right? It depends. Why did a person do it? If you know they didn't mean it, it's completely different, right? It's all how we perceive it. I remember growing up at church, there was this one kid who didn't have hair. I mean, you couldn't see him most of the time, but he was going bald basically, which is very traumatic for a kid apparently. Most people knew about it. That's why he always had his hat on, even at church, right? One time, another kid took his hat off because he wanted to use it for a prop. We were going to do a skit. Normally, the kid would be super angry, hit the other person, run around crying. But he didn't do any of that because he knew the other kid didn't mean anything. It was just, he didn't know. It's all about the perception of intent, right? I mean, do you know what the baby actually thinks? No, we actually don't. I mean, we just say the baby, they don't mean anything, right? They throw stuff. But who's going to get mad at a 5-month old for throwing something? They don't know any better, right? I mean, not till probably a year and a half, too, that they're trying to do it to make you mad. But the thing is, we presume they have no bad intent, and thus it doesn't bother us. And I wonder if we could choose that philosophy in life. We think why people do stuff, and think if they have a bad intent. Many times people do stuff that upsets us. You could even say sometimes stuff that they do traumatizes us. And many times we think we know why, because we're adults. People do stuff because of this. But that's not true. Not all adults are the same. Not all adults do stuff for those reasons, right? Sometimes it's simply an oversight. The same person who didn't realize the other kid was bald, he doesn't process emotions, feelings in the same way as most people. Many things he does, he doesn't actually mean to hurt anybody, right? I was roommates with him in college, and I remember one time I would have been super mad, but the other roommate cut his hand on a knife, which was just laying there on a stool, like a stool that's like about knee high. It's like, well, that's sort of dangerous. And he just told the other guy, hey, you shouldn't do that, it's dangerous. The guy didn't mean to, right? The guy simply didn't know any better. And the roommate understood this. It didn't traumatize him. It hurt him, literally. Might have a scar there. But he knew there was no bad intent. It wasn't even because this guy was stupid. It's just that this is what this guy does. That's just him. He doesn't mean anything. And he moved on. And I wonder if we could take that philosophy for us in life as well. Many times people do stuff that hurts us. And we know why they did it. Or so we think. Because we don't really genuinely know, right? We don't know what's going through somebody's head when they do something. We don't know how their life is otherwise. Sometimes people do stuff they wouldn't otherwise. Maybe somebody's normally a jerk and they really went overboard one time. But their mom's really sick in the hospital, and that's why. You don't know that. It makes a difference when we know what people's lives are going through. It helps us make allowances. But we often won't know. We'll never always know. Maybe the key is to be like towards a baby. We just presume there's stuff going on, no bad intent, and we move on, forgetting.